So we live on the Secret Rocks Nature Reserve on the Eyre Peninsula. That's a photo of our property there. So let's see if I can get this. That's our property there on the Eastern Eyre Peninsula. So you've got Whyalla, Kimber here. So it's 259 square kilometres. It was part of Kooyudu pastoral lease, and we purchased it in 2003 and excised the bottom of the pastoral lease and turned it into heritage agreement. So it's a fairly large area. When we first moved there, it's mallee scrub with sort of granite outcrops, so quite variable habitat. But we noticed a lot of goat damage. So this is sandalwood trees here, and you can see the graze line. So we've removed over 10,000 goats from the property over the last 10 years. And with the help of Judas goats, so these are goats that we put radio collars on, and we let them go, and they mob up with the other goats, and they show us where all the goats are. So we've been really effective using Judas goats as a method of control. We also had a lot of weed issues when we first bought the property. This is Salvation Jane. We spent a lot of time spraying and hand pulling weeds, which is a bit of a mind-numbing job, but had to be done. Also had a lot of feral cats and foxes, so we started putting out 1080 baits just by hand along the roadsides to try and control the foxes and cats. And we also had a lot of natural rock holes, and these would have been cleaned out by the Bungala people, because this is Bungala land on the Eyre Peninsula, but they obviously hadn't been doing that for the last 100 years since European occupation, so we were cleaning out rock holes as well. So soon after we started, we decided to try and form a partnership with some of the local landholders, and so we have Department for Environment owns a couple of national parks next to us. So we've got Ironstone Hill Conservation Park here, and we've got Lake Gillis Conservation Park here. We've also got a pastoral lease here, we've got heritage agreement owners down here, and we've got Cymec mining here. So we tried to get everyone together to form what we called the Middleback Alliance, because we're near the Middleback Ranges, and this is what we've been doing for the last 12 years as part of sort of a conservation partnership. One of the reasons we bought the property is because it has nationally threatened malleefowl on there. So this is a bird that builds these amazing mounds and incubates its eggs inside the mound. We've got about 350 mounds on our property, and we monitor them through the National Recovery Team every year. Some of them are active, so that's John, my partner, with an active mound there, and here's a bird we saw last year on an active mound, so that was pretty exciting. But we like to combine conservation with research to try and improve our conservation outcomes. So we actually went ahead and put some radio tags on these birds. You can see a little radio tag there. We put radio tags on 8 birds, and we found that we lost 2/3 of them to cats and foxes in the first year. And this is despite the fact that we were hand baiting for foxes. So this is the transmitter. This is what we'd find, dead birds and tooth marks, and we used DNA to just determine what it was that caused the death. So from that, we've now actually started aerial baiting with national parks, with the Department for Environment. So we aerial bait now over about 600 square kilometres across the region. This is us here. These lines are aerial baiting lines, and that's made a real difference to cats and foxes in the area, and definitely helping with the malleefowl. This is another threatened animal we had that was already present on Secret Rocks, the sandhill dunnart, which is a gorgeous little marsupial. It's carnivorous, and it lives in Triodia, which is spinifex. So we got out again. This is my daughter Layla helping out. This is a long time ago. She's 19 now, but so we went out and we tried to work out what it was about the Triodia that these sandhill dunnarts liked, and they like certain height Triodia, which means they need a certain fire age. So we, again, in conjunction with National Parks, started doing some fire management on our place to try and encourage sandhill dunnarts to increase. And luckily we did that, because in 2019 we had these catastrophic bushfires, which also Kangaroo Island had, and a lot of places in South Australia and the eastern coast. So these 2 black fires are the 2019 bushfires. This one here pulled up on a control burn here, otherwise these would have actually joined up, and there was another control burn here that stopped this area here from burning. So it really brought home how important it is to do control burns, even though they can be quite distressing and stressful to do. They made a really big difference to our fire management on our property. And that's just some of the post-fire photos. It got within 50 metres of our house, so we were very lucky that we didn't lose the house. One of the other things we've been trying to do is revegetation. A lot of the areas have been heavily grazed by stock in the past. And again, we just came up to issues with kangaroo browsing. So this whole area here on the left was revegetated, and this is a little kangaroo exclosure. And this is the same exclosure now. And basically that's the only place where the revegetation was successful, was in an area where we'd excluded kangaroos, which is, very unfortunate and quite upsetting. So in the last couple of years, with help from the Revitalising Private Conservation Group, as well as a few other donors, we actually have built a 4,000 hectare exclosure on our property. And this is to exclude kangaroos, but also to exclude cats and foxes as well, because we want to try and reintroduce locally threatened and extinct species as well. So it's 1.8 metres high. It keeps cats, foxes, kangaroos and goats out. And just in that time here, this is Secret Rocks on the left before we've put the fence up, and on the right, just only 3 years afterwards. So the revegetation that's happened naturally without us having to replant has been absolutely incredible, just from keeping the kangaroo numbers down and getting rid of the goats. So huge vegetation benefits. So I definitely encourage anyone to put an exclosure up on their place if they want to see what the country would look like if it wasn't being overgrazed. So this sanctuary that we have on our place is called Mallee Refuge, and it joins a whole lot of other sanctuaries that are fenced across Australia for cats and foxes. So there's over 20 functional fenced exclosures in Australia. Some of them range in size from very small to very large. Ours is probably one of the larger ones, but you can see they're sort of starting to become quite popular across Australia. We also looked at restoring plants as well, so we're not just about the mammals and the birds. And this is the Acacia crotacea, again a nationally threatened species. And the SAC Conservation Centre helped us revegetate over 500 of these inside our exclosure, and they're now, some of them are 2 metres tall. And we also did some outside the exclosure, and they were all eaten by kangaroos. So again, just shows the power of that exclosure. Last year, we started our first mammal reintroduction. We started with the Shark Bay bandicoot. So this is an animal that used to occur on the mainland and is now extinct on the mainland, except for 2 islands in Western Australia. So this was all through the southern arid zone. And we put 20 animals back last year, and we just trapped last week and this is a young one, and we've had lots and lots of new Shark Bay bandicoots. So they're doing really, really well inside the exclosure. And this is a video. We might just see if we can get it to work. This is one of our Shark Bay bandicoots. If you click on the... it might not work. Oh well, you can see there a really bulging pouch that she's got there. So this is one of the ones we reintroduced, and she had pouch young within only about 2 months after release. Oh, yeah, there you go. So if you watch the pouch, you'll be able to see the young inside the pouch moving in a minute. We've just put a bit of peanut butter down there for her to keep her in one place. You can see the young moving in the pouch. So yeah, that's been really successful. So getting rid of the cats and foxes has been the key to reintroducing this little fella. In November, we're planting numbats and red-tailed phascogales, another 2 species that used to be present in South Australia but are now extinct in South Australia. They're still present in Western Australia. So we're pretty excited to see how they're going to go in November as well. And this is just a photo showing how the fire is changed, and this is from doing roo control and roo exclusion. So we've still got a long way to go to get back to the beautiful big old growth mallee that we had, but at least there's a lot of recruitment of plants and things happening in that area. So finally, I just wanted to say how important it's been to us to collaborate with a whole lot of people and to get funding from a whole lot of people as well. And there's no way we could have done as much as we have over the last 18 years without all these different groups that we've collaborated with and volunteers and things. And we've had a lot of financial support from a lot of different organisations as well, which has been just amazing, and people have really loved coming out and getting involved in the conservation work that we do. So I guess my take-home message is private conservation is amazing, and I think that it's really best done in partnerships. So rather than working alone, try and collaborate with as many different people as you can, because you'll get a better outcome. Thank you.